As promised in our last lesson, in this lesson we are going to talk about solving systems algebraically. The first method we're going to learn is through substitution, and then the next lesson we'll talk about elimination, and that's about as far as we'll get, I think, on methods in Algebra 1. In Algebra 2, and we'll learn even more, and then in Pre-Cal we'll learn even more methods to solving systems and all these things. But we're going to start with substitution. Let's start with an example. So we're going to do some examples. Example 1 is going to have the instructions, same instructions as all of these, and that is solve by substitution. Okay, and so the system we're going to solve is y equals 2x plus 1 and 3x plus y equals -9. So step 1 in solving a system with substitution is to solve one of the equations for one of the variables. That's already done for us on this one because this one is already solved for y. So what we're going to do now is we're going to substitute, hence the name of the method, right? So all of this equals y. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to substitute it in for y in this other equation. Okay, so we're going to do 3x plus, and then we're going to put big parentheses where the variable lives, bring everything else down. And then inside the parentheses, we're going to put all of this. So 2x plus 1. Now, in this particular problem, the parentheses don't really matter because all we have is plus 1 on the outside of them, right? And so our first step can be just to drop the parentheses. If we had a number out there, then we'd have to distribute first or something like that, right? So plus 2x plus 1 equals -9. Now, we're going to solve this. We've got one variable and one equation, so we can jump on in and solve it, right? We've got some like terms on there. Excuse me. 3x plus 2x equals what? Well, it equals 5x. I'm used to saying equals what because, you know, there's somebody to answer me. But right now, it's only voices in my own head. Oh, no, he's gone crazy. Don't listen to him. Oh, wait, do listen to him. And by him, I guess I mean me. Because I'm teaching you math, and that's something that you got to learn because somebody told you you had to, or possibly you like it, or any number of other possibilities, right? So we're going to subtract 1 next. -1, -1. Bring down the 5x. Bring down equals -9 minus 1. The signs are the same, so we're going to add and keep the sign. So -10. Excuse me. 5 is multiplied times the x, and so we're going to get rid of it by dividing by 5. Those cancel, leaving us with x equals -2, right? So that's half of the answer, right? Because we learned in the last lesson that the solution to a system is a point. So a point has an x part and a y part. So how are we going to find the y part? Well, we're going to substitute again. We're going to take and substitute, and we're going to plug this in. You can put it in either one. I'm going to plug it in the one that's already solved for y, because that's going to make our life a little bit easier, okay? So I'm going to write this equation with parentheses where the variable is. We've actually done substitution problems kind of before, right? Where you're given numbers and you got to substitute them in for variables and all of that. So I'm going to plug in a -2 here. And then I'm going to do 2 times -2 is -4. Bring down +1. -4 plus 1, signs are different. We subtract and keep the sign of the bigger one, so it's -3. So the only thing we got to do now is write our answer as a point. Points go x, y, so our answer is -2, -3. Notifications. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Okay, so that's it. Let's do another example. All right, let's do, how about this one? Example 2. Example 2 is x plus 2y equals 6. And 3x minus 4y equals 28. So this time, remember I said the first step is to solve one of the equations for one of the variables. Well, neither one of them is solved for a variable yet. So you got to solve them for one of them for one of the variables, either x or y, or if we're using different variables, one of those, right? And so how do you know which one to solve for? Well, you can do it any one of them. You could solve for x on the first one, or y on the first one, or x on the second one, or y on the second one. You could solve it for you could do it any way. So I try to look and see which one's going to be the easiest. Well, in this one, x is kind of its own thing, right? It's not multiply times anything, so we're not going to have to do any division later. So on the first one, we're going to solve it for x. So we're going to subtract 2y. If we do it on this side, we got to do it on this side too. So the first one turns into x equals 6 minus 2y. Now we're going to take that and we're going to substitute it. Because all of this equals x, we're going to sub it in for x in the other equation. So we're going to write this other equation as 3. And then times, we're going to put a big old parenthesis so we can shove all this in it. Excuse me. Minus 4y equals 28. And then for x, we're going to put all this because all this equals x. All right, so we're going to put 6 minus 2y. Then we're going to solve it. Now, this time, we can't just drop the parentheses. This is what I was talking about, right? We've got to distribute that 3. Right? So we've got 3 times 6, which is 18. 3 times negative 2y, which is negative 6y. Bring down minus 4y. We haven't touched it. Bring down equals 28. Then we got some like terms going on. We've got this one and that one. So negative 6y minus 4y is negative 10y. Bring down the 18. That'd be an easy thing to accidentally forget, right? Gotta make sure and bring down all the things that we haven't touched. Don't forget to bring something down because it's on the end and we did something in the middle, right? So remember, now this equation is kind of written weird, right? We've got the y over here, we've got this out here, and we've got a minus here. Now, we've got to get rid of this 18 first because it's easier to get rid of the addition and subtraction first. So are we going to add it because of this minus, or are we going to subtract it? Well, we've got to subtract it, and remember, in order to figure out which one, we've got to do the one that gets rid of this. So 18 minus 18 is 0. And so it's going to cancel it, which is what we want. So we're going to subtract 18 on this side as well. Those 18s cancel, leaving us with negative 10y equals 10. We're going to divide by negative 10. Don't forget to bring down that negative. That would be a place where a mistake would be easy to make. Right? So we're left with y equals negative 1. Right? So we're going to take and we're going to substitute this one in. Now you can substitute it in any one of these places, but kind of like the last one, I'm going to substitute it in the one that's solved for x because that's going to be the easiest place to sub it for. Right? So x equals 6 minus 2 times, and then sub in negative 1. All right, so x equals 6 plus 2, because negative 2 times negative 1 is 2. 6 plus 2 is 8, so x equals 8. So we've got each part. Now we just got to write it as a point. So the answer is the point 8, -1, because points go x, y, right? That is it for solving systems with substitution. We'll look at a second method called elimination in the next lesson. We'll see you there. If you're one of my students, do your homework and all the things. We'll see you in class. If you're not one of my students, thanks for joining us. It would be helpful if you hit that subscribe button and maybe drop us a like. That lets us be able to offer all of these lectures for free here on YouTube. Thanks. Have a great day. Check out emberlearninglabs.com for what else we're doing. Bye-bye.